With that, I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Roxanne Avent Taylor, CEO and producer of Hidden Empire Film Group. Roxanne is a leading producer and executive who, alongside director Deon Taylor, formed the film company Hidden Empire Film Group to bring fresh content to a variety of media platforms. Taylor has developed, packaged, and produced an impressive slate of films, including The Intruder, starring Dennis Quaid and Meagan Good, which opened at number 2 against the Avengers Endgame, the thriller Traffik, starring Paula Patton, which was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Independent Motion Picture, and 2019's Black and Blue, starring Academy Award nominee Naomi. Before founding Hidden Empire, Taylor served as CEO at Avent Productions, a successful independent film production company. Taylor received the 2018 Women in NAACP Leadership Award and the 2019 Baron J. Foundation Trailblazer Award. Additionally, Taylor and Hidden Empire Film Group received the 2019 Location Manager Guild International Humanitarian of the Year Award. Please join me in welcoming Roxanne Avent Taylor.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm happy to be here, and it is Roxanne, not Rachel. Okay. But thank you for having me, OTT.X. It's an honor to be here. You know, oftentimes I am behind the scenes, so being asked to speak is always overwhelming for me. But I'm happy to share my journey here. I have quite a bit of a story to tell. I won't go too far back. I will just start where I came from. A little bit about myself. I'm a mother of 3 kids from 6 to 19. So I'm very busy, and work-life balance is a thing constantly. My husband, as Eric mentioned, is also my partner. We established Hidden Empire Film Group about 16 years ago now. And it actually was by default. Neither one of us went to film school. We are self-taught, no mentorship, no official training, just 2 kids really that love film. My prior background was computer science. I was a software specialist and installing hardware and software for the Senate and the Assembly in Sacramento. And so, you know, as I was growing up, I had quite a bit of adversity. My mother's white, my father's black, so it was a pretty aggressive time for me, and I ended up alone and on the streets at a very young age with no hope, not knowing where my next plan or path was going to be. The great thing about it was, you know, I loved school. I loved learning. I loved education, so I managed to make sure that I stayed in school. When I wasn't in school, I was in the movie theater, and that was really my escapism from all of the trauma and things that I was going through. And I lived vicariously through those characters, wondering, you know, are they going through the same types of things that everyday people go through? Because oftentimes, what you see on the camera is not what's happening in real life. I managed to get myself out of that. It was a very trying time, but I got through it. I ended up in the software business. Loved it, was very, very good at what I did. But eventually I said, you know what, I don't want to be a programmer. I don't want to sit in this 6x6 room in this cubicle doing this work. And so I decided to move to LA. No rhyme or reason, didn't know anyone in LA. I convinced my brother and my dad to follow me. I got a U-Haul, drove to LA with my Ford Escort at the time, backed it up in the Motel 6, and at that time, it was, I'll let him turn his phone. At that time, temp agencies were very active. I ended up registering with a temp agency called All Star Agency, and they were specialized in film and television. And so, you know, although I went 10 steps back to try to figure out this film business, I figured that I could go in through the business side. And so I was able to get a job as a receptionist slash PA at the Walker, Texas Ranger Show. Maybe a little dated for some of you in here, but that was my first taste of what film looked like, television looked like. And although I was just picking up garbage and answering phones and doing basically whatever they say, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with what PAs do, everybody's important. Nevertheless, I found out quickly that the only way to find out how jobs are presented or you find out about them was through this list called the UTA list. Nothing was advertised, and it still really isn't today, right? Unless you know someone, or you're shepherded in, or you're from a family of film, you just don't get the access, period. So I got this list, and of course I applied for every single position on the list, no matter if I qualified or not, because I was just trying to understand and learn what people wanted and how this all works. So eventually I landed a job. I was probably, I think, around 21 at this time. Eventually I landed an interview with the Directors Guild. Again, no idea of even what the Directors Guild was. No experience, no education, and I ended up getting the job in the interview. And this man was the national executive in charge of theater operations, awards administration, and facilities management for the New York and LA office. And so I was like, oh my God, this is great. I'll be able to learn everything about film and how this all works. It was an amazing experience. I learned so much. We did all the awards for television. I ended up having my first kind of producing job, which was the Alfred Hitchcock exhibit. Very fun. Unfortunately, I knew what I didn't know, which was the film business, which is very different from the corporate world. And so, as many people experienced these different stereotypes, my boss was very aggressive, verbally abusive, and I just was like, I can't take this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be treated like this. And so I quit. Again, everybody's like, what? What are you doing? Like, people die for these jobs, and I can't believe that you're going to quit the DGA. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be talked to like this. You know, I'm still like feisty, trying to learn my way. So I didn't care. I just figured, oh, I can just go back to the state. Whatever, I'll just go back home. Anyway, I ended up transitioning into music, doing live events for Al Heyman Entertainment. And it was a great transition because, you know, in production, as most people know, all the variables are the same. So the content's different, but you still have the same kind of different levels in it. Fast forward, my now husband, Deon, he was playing professional basketball, and he decided that he wanted to retire. And he wanted to make a movie. And he's like, well, who do I know in the film business? Me. Yeah, right. I knew nothing about the film business, right? And so he called me up and he said, hey, I want to make a movie. I wrote this script. You're in the business? I'm like, well, not really. I don't know anything about making a movie. Regardless of the fact, you know what I mean, I can get through anything. I try to, you know, I lend myself to really psyching myself out and pushing myself beyond beliefs and trying to be bold even when you don't want to. And so I took the leap of faith with him. And he wrote this film, which was then 75, and that was, like I said, around 16 years ago. And we used the people around us, mainly athletes that he played with, to raise the money. I mean, from 50 grand here, 200 grand, whatever it took. We probably had 30 people in this movie. It was crazy. We had no idea what we were doing. He wrote the film, he directed the film, I produced the film. We ran out of money during the film. We had to go get more money for the film, about to shut the production down. All of the things that you hear happened. We do finish the film, but then we're like, okay, now what's next? You gotta sell the film. You gotta give these people their money back, right? And so then we go down that journey of how do we get a distribution deal? Who do we go to? How do we get to them? All of the things that no one tells you. Eventually, we were able to get the film off. We ended up doing Chain Letter, Hustle, Supremacy, Night Tales the series, and we leveraged each film every time for the next while we were shooting them to raise the money, because the excitement of people seeing this talent on set and what you're doing is easier to raise the money. So that became our film school. Those 3, 4, 5 different projects that we were able to make became our film school. And I wouldn't change it for the world because, you know, I think school is great. I think it's a great platform to learn and go through, but I always am a on-the-job person, and I feel like once you get on, you really see what this is about, right? And so I wouldn't trade that because I wouldn't have that experience and learning every single position and what they do and how they do it, whether I'm physically doing it or not. When you're independent, you're very hands-on and you get an in-depth look on how these different things work, from the wardrobe to camera, grip, electric, etc. By the time we were, I think, on our 5th film or so, you know, struggling the whole time, only eating off of what we make, trying to figure this out. It was a lot of sleepless nights. I'm picking him up when he's down and vice versa, really trying to motivate each other to try to stay alive. I mean, you're not gonna get, well, I shouldn't say that. We didn't get any help or any guidance on how this works. So our entire journey was like this. And if a little bit of knowledge from anyone, if they could have shared just anything, we could have had maybe a clearer path and not go down that road, because you know it's going to have a dead end, and try to stay at least on some path would have been helpful, right? But what I found as we got deeper and deeper in, people were so reluctant to share information. They did not want to tell you who to talk to. They did not want to tell you where to go. They didn't want to tell you how to raise money. They didn't want to give up their relationships and distribution or marketing or what have you. And so it was very challenging for us to navigate and find our way. And again, if you don't come from this business, you don't have any support or guidance, you don't have a track record, it's because it's all about who you are, what you've done, and how much money do you have, right? And so I found that out very quickly. It was a really, really, really hard road. We managed to be able to sustain. We had an amazing partner that we were able to secure that would invest in us. He ended up investing in us, not really in the film, but in us. And we were able to sustain through those years with that partner. Eventually, just when we were probably about to give up, we created this small movie called Meet the Blacks. And this movie starred this amazing black cast, Mike Epps, Tony Cox, Charlie Murphy, Lunel, the list goes on and on. We created this movie for about $1 million. And we shot this movie in 14 days, I think, something insane. And, you know, when you have limited money and a limited team, you learn how to be creative to get things done because you don't have any money to come back and reshoot, right? So when I leave that set, the movie has to be done. Anyway, we went all around town and tried to find a home, the same, you know, journey with all of the other ones. And it just got to a point where we said, no, we're not going to take the BS deal anymore, right? We're not going to take the 25-year distribution term for, you know, 25% or whatever those look like, right? So we decided that we were going to put the movie out on our own. Again, we don't know how to distribute a movie. And so we go and raise our own P&A for the first time ever. We raised a couple $1 million. We ended up grabbing a couple people that were in the business. At the time, it was, I think it was, I can't call the name right now for some reason. Anyway, it's now Entertainment Studios that Byron Allen has. Before that, it was another name, and I'm losing a blank. Freestyle, thank you. So Mark and those guys over there, I went to them and I did a deal with them, and they had all the relationships with the exhibitors, and we put our movie out. And during that time, IG was just getting started. And so we were able to leverage all of the talent in the film to promote our movie. Just like he mentioned with Intruder, with Meet the Blacks, we had Batman versus Superman fall on our date. We were devastated, but what can you do, right? Anyway, fast forward, it became a massive success. We were number 4 in the box office. And you know, we're sitting around waiting for the phone calls, waiting for the stories in the newspaper to talk about what a massive thing we've done, and it never happened. But what did happen is it opened us to a whole new world, which was the distribution space. And it was then that we were able to learn that you can market and distribute your own film with the right partners, and you don't have to go through a studio. And it's just people that make things move, right? And finding the right people that are passionate in what you're doing, that are like-minded, and believe in the same vision, anything can happen. And so to date, that movie is still in pay window, still. So we ended up, I think, we're at, 10x of what we made that movie for. And it's so exciting. And that became a franchise film. We ended up doing The House Next Door, which is the sequel to that. We distributed that independently as well. After that, although people see you whether they say it or not, we were able to leverage that film, and that's when we went and made The Intruder with Dennis Quaid and Meagan Good. Huge success. We went on to make Fatale with Hilary Swank and Michael Ealy. Massive success. And then we were able to go into Black and Blue with Naomi Harris and Frank Grillo. That movie was our first studio movie. That was the first time that a studio came to us and brought us a script. This is now, 12 years later. And it was a bittersweet moment because I think you always wait for that, and you're one to be in the studio system, and you're waiting for people to call your phone. But for us, although we were super excited, the process is so much different. Because unlike all of our other films, we financed them, we wrote them, we directed them, we did not have to report to anyone. We made the stories that we wanted to make. We were able to cast who we wanted to cast. We can put Black and brown people in front of the camera and behind the camera, give them experiences that they would never even have, which, is obviously very important to us being self-taught and not having a roadmap or any opportunity. It was very important for us to be able to give those opportunities. So in that studio world, those opportunities didn't exist because you had to play by their rules. So it's a totally different game. But if you want to elevate, you have to play by different rules. That movie ended up being a massive success. I think, the most important thing with us, with our films, is speaking to a multicultural audience that is grounded in culture, because we are from the culture, we live the culture, and it's just good for business. And it works. We've learned how to make movies for an audience, and they've been successful. We had to learn also that it's not about how much the movie is. So every film that we've done, except for Black and Blue, was under $5 million. And we were able to make sure that we put all of that money on the screen and offer the talent, an interest in the film and, different bonuses so they can get to the number that they're normally used to getting to. And when you create that 360, which for me was what I thrived for my whole career, and what that means to me is an idea to paper, to film, to distribute, and be able to pay that money back and then put money in people's pockets. And it took us several years to be able to accomplish that, but being able to do that was like the biggest goal as a producer that I could do. I was very excited to be able to go back to my investor and say, here's all your money. And I was very excited to go to the talent and say, this is what you've made, and thank you for believing in us and supporting us. And I think now, it's bittersweet to stand here to talk about our business that we never had a business plan for. Everybody told us no. We like to call ourselves the product of no. They would remind us that, no, don't come back here again. And, to stand here and say that we own, 14 IPs outright. We've created a sustainable business. We've been able to employ, Black and brown people that would never not have these opportunities. We've learned how to distribute, market. We're now marketing for other studios and other independent producers, their films, because again, we know exactly that you gotta go direct to your consumer. Our audience doesn't live on deadline and variety, right? That means nothing for us. But, through that, we've been able to build amazing partnerships as well. We have, we'll be on our second year of our 3-year deal with the NFL, where we are taking athletes, it's called a career tour. We're taking athletes that are on the field that want to be in the entertainment business and showing them the roadmap on how to make that career change. So that was very important to us. We do have multiple partnerships against all the studios because now they are all calling. So we have Blackula that we're rebooting with MGM and Amazon, which is very bittersweet to me because it's a 50-year-old movie, and that was the first time Black people had a chance to be showcased in film outside of the normal stereotypes. They were doctors, they were lawyers, and the film was successful. Showed Hollywood that we can too have a sustainable business. So to be a part of that is so rewarding. We have a massive football heist movie at TriStar called Free Agents, and it's about second-string football players robbing banks. We have the Floyd Mayweather docuseries. We have his rights, and so we are producing and directing that project as well. And the list goes on and on. But we're in a very unique space, and it's just really important to never forget where you come from, because when you get to a leadership position, what I have found is a lot of people don't bring the ladder back down once they get there. They feel like, they have got to this place in their career, and there's not many people that look like us, and they need to just manage it so tough that they won't let anyone else in. So we really take pride in making sure that we collaborate, that we support the people around us that helped us, people that didn't help us, giving them opportunities in this space. It's about, for us, creating a massive library that can sustain and live on for many, many years to come. As I mentioned, I have 3 kids, and they might need a little help later down the road. And so we're trying to create a library. In the next 5 years, we hope to have about 50 titles that we've created on our own as independent filmmakers and producers, and hopefully being able to exploit other filmmakers and producers and help them with their content and their journey, and just paying it forward and giving them the knowledge. It's really important for us to do that. We have, single-handedly probably put, 20, 30 people in the union. A lot of people need hours. They need all this different things to get into the union, and early on, everything we did was non-union. So we were able to manage to do that, from actors to writers to IATSE members. And although that's hard to do now, we have created a nonprofit called CLIMB, which is Community Learn, Inspire, Motivate, Build. Thank you. And I think that just speaks for itself. That's just what we want to do, And so everything from doing the norm at the holidays is really creating a mentorship for the young adults and people that are trying to figure out a way, and supporting their journey. I think, the film landscape has changed so much from when I first came in, and there's so many opportunities that you would normally not have today with all of the different platforms. You can literally shoot a movie on your phone, right? And you can put it out on YouTube. You can do whatever you want, and you don't have to ask or get approval from anyone. And so I just, again, unlike when I was growing up and going through this journey, it was a lot more difficult. I think it's gotten so much easier because of the streaming business, because of all the different platforms. Everyone needs 24-hour content, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so you can create a lane for yourself without anybody telling you. I don't know if you want to show the video, but I'd like to show a quick video. And this video represents, I'm in the middle of a big fundraise right now. I'm trying to raise $50 million to create 22 films over 5 years. So this is the first time ever I've went out to raise money in this capacity. And so again, I am now entering into another phase of unknown territory. And so we created this video to the potential investors that we're soliciting. So I thought it might be good to share with you guys if you want to see it. And so here it is.
Ready, here we go. Set, and action.
It all changes now. It all changes now. It all changes now.
If diversity has affected the film business, I personally don't see it.
We're talking about working together, changing the narrative.
We always try to make sure that our audience has somebody to identify with.
That does not systematically go by the everyday Hollywood rules.
We're so happy that we're able to give women and Black and brown minorities opportunities in front and behind the camera, because you're often overlooked. Climb organization is very dear to me. We reach out in the community and we just try to do our part to empower the youth.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, as you can tell, I'm Caucasian, and there's a real peculiar guy.
Is he Black?
Yes, he's Black.
Okay, we'll send over 5 units right away.
It all changes now. Yeah, I done been through it.
Being told no our whole career, we were forced in making the Hidden Empire company.
All of that changes now.
It was built off what I like to call the product of no.
No, 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 no!
No, it's not like that no more, man. It's like this.
Through the pain like
The moment that I realized you could control your own destiny, it changed the whole game for me.
Man, it's gotta be a better way to grow, yo.
We're growing every time we put out a film, and we just don't stay in one genre. We've done thriller, horror, drama, comedy, Not a lot of filmmakers can say they do that.
I'ma be the best,
And we run a tight ship. Our budgets are predominantly under $5 million.
Haircut.
It all changes now.
We figured out the 360, how to do the distribution. We've made better content.
So all of that changes now.
And as black business owners and black filmmakers, that's extremely rare to say that I own my own franchise.
It all changes now. It all changes now.
As the industry evolves, so must we. When you think of Blumhouse or A24, you think of companies who challenge the norm. Now we are leading the way and creating the path for others to follow.
It all changes now. Yeah, I done been through it, but I learned the best thing to do is smile. And man, I'm done losing. It all changes now. It all changes now. It all changes now. It all changes, it all changes, it all changes. Now.
You hired me because of me. You didn't hire me so I can play you, motherfucker. You hired me so I can play me.
It all changes.